Settle back into your environment. If you're lying on the floor, just check that you're comfortable. Notice that you're fully supported in that environment. The floor supports your whole body from head to toes. With shavasana, it's a good idea to check that you have enough length through the back of the neck. It's often good to have some kind of small pillow or folded towel even behind your head, underneath your head. It helps to just keep your airway kind of clear and support your head and neck. Check you have enough length through the lower back. One way to do that is to bend your knees and then extend your hips a little bit farther towards your heels. It's often comfortable for people as well to have something under their knees. So if you wanted to have something under your knees, that could be a rolled towel or blanket, something like that. The arms ideally are a little bit out from the side, maybe 1.5 feet or so with the palms up. So to do that, you'd have to roll your shoulders open so you could lie with your palms up. And if that's not comfortable, some people prefer to have their hands either resting on their stomach or just by their side. And the legs are usually about 1.5 feet apart, a little bit spread. And let the toes can flop off to the sides so that you can relax your legs. If the air is cool in the room at all, it's a good idea to have a light shawl or blanket to cover you. The body goes into a deep resting state when we're in shavasana, and it can get a little bit cool. The idea with shavasana, and one of the reasons it's often referred to as the hardest pose, asana is pose in Sanskrit. Shava is corpse, so it's the corpse pose. And in this pose, in this position, we don't actually need any muscle activity to support ourselves, hence the name. The idea with shavasana is to be completely relaxed in our bodies, in the breath, in the thought stream. We're not really paying attention to thoughts. And the mind is awake and alert. So the challenge in shavasana for some people is to settle enough to stay still and to relax. And for other people, the challenge is to stay awake. Especially in our culture where we're often underslept, it can be really tempting to just let yourself go off into a sleep as soon as you start this. And it can be quite a struggle to train yourself to not do that automatically. One of the keys to this, of course, is with all practices is whatever's happening, to not give yourself a hard time or be judgmental about it. Just allow that into your information. It took me about 10 years before I made it through a whole shavasana practice without sleeping at some point. So this can be a difficult task for some of us. So whether you're more on the can't relax side or whether you're more on the can't stay awake side, or maybe you're right in the middle, just to notice this is your experience as we go through the shavasana practice and work with what you have that's coming up today. There's no right or wrong way to do this. So first we become aware of our whole body from head to toes. If you're on the floor, notice how you're supported by the floor, the back of the head, the top and back of the shoulders, small of the back is a little bit off the floor, the hips resting on the floor, the calves, the heels. And notice how we know that. We have a built-in proprioceptor system. We just always kind of know how our bodies are located in space. And we also have the sensory perceptions. We have that feeling of pressure along the back of our body where it connects with the floor. We might also have an image of our body on the floor. Or if we're sitting, we might have a different set of sensory perceptions and images. First, taking a look at the whole body from head to toes, and with a few exhalations, let yourself settle, let yourself become more relaxed. Breathe in deeply and exhale deeply a few times. Kind of on an overall basis, check to see if your experience in your body right now is generally relaxed, generally tense. It's an overall perception of how you're experiencing life this morning. And then as we go through the body, we're going to notice muscles. In particular, we'll notice contracted muscles. Some muscles are tense or tight. And when we come to that part of the body where there's a tightness in the muscle, often just bringing our attention to it is enough to allow that to release. Sometimes, like if you go to the forehead, you can notice generally what's happening in your forehead. If there's a lot of, your brows are knitted, there's a lot of contraction there, you can allow that to release. And you could also wiggle your eyebrows up and down a couple of times and then notice what happens as you let that soften and release. You notice the eyes, the corners of the eyes, the deep muscles of the eyes. And just in behind the forehead and in behind the eyes are where thoughts arise, images arise. At times there are other sensations that arise in that part of the body as well. Could be kind of on the skin and muscle layer, or it might be more internal. And if there's a lot of activity in the thought stream, we might need to bring ourselves back from that more often. The thought stream has kind of a natural pull. So in shavasana, our job is to try to remain awake, alert, and completely relaxed, and to not follow along with the thought stream. So keep your mind focused on the part of the body that we're on, what we're looking at, and this allowing of the softness, the relaxation. Moving down now a little bit to the mouth area. Notice the lips, the tongue, the jaw and the hinges of the jaw. If there's no space at all, if your jaw is kind of clenched, put a little bit of space between your upper jaw and lower jaw. You could move your lower jaw around side to side a bit if you wanted, and then allow that to relax, that whole area. The sense of speech is at rest while we're doing our shavasana practice. You could allow the vocal cords to soften and relax. All through the neck, the throat, the sides of the neck, the back of the neck. So being aware of the neck and the head, the muscles, the energy, the thoughts, the sights, the feeling of the tongue in the mouth, and down into your neck. The back of the neck is a very common place for people to hold tightness or tension. It's also not uncommon for us to have protective energy in the back of our neck and shoulders, up into the upper back there. So if any of that is present, tight muscles or some kind of energy, see if it's safe, if you could allow that to relax for a moment. It's such hard work to carry our heads around on our bodies, for one thing, but also to be protecting ourselves in our daily lives. See if you can allow that to soften and release just for a few minutes even. Just noticing if it feels like that would be okay to do right now. And let your attention come all the way along through the side of the neck into the arms. Come over the shoulders, into the upper arms, into the lower arms. Down into the hands. Notice the palms of the hands. The sensation in the hands is a bit different than the sensation in the fingers or the elbows. Notice overall what the energy feels like in your arms, and then specifically the palms of your hands. And then bring your attention back up to the head, to the face, the throat, the muscles of the chest. So from the collarbones to the lower ribs, there's this large band of muscles that cover the chest. It extends around to the side and around to the back, where it joins up with the muscles around the spine. Notice the rib cage itself. And notice that in this part of the body, we can observe the movement of the body with the breath. If the movement of your rib cage is quite high up in the chest, see if you can allow it to move a little bit lower. Relax the belly as well. And notice the rhythm, the pace. If the movement feels continuous, as you finish inhaling, there's this expansion of the rib cage, the lower ribs. And as you finish exhaling, the whole part of your rib cage, the stomach area, settles and relaxes back. It becomes closer to the spine if you're lying on the floor. And then bringing your attention more directly into the area protected by the rib cage. Notice if there's any energy or sensation in that area. And if there is, notice a little bit of the detail of that. Notice how large it is, what shape it is, if it feels still or it has movement in it. Sometimes there will be images or memories that are coming to mind as soon as we tune into a sensation or energy. So we're not really going with thoughts at the moment. We're really just paying attention to the energy and the feeling of the body moving with the breath. If something comes up that feels kind of important, make a mental note. You can come back to that later. And then bring your attention below the diaphragm into the stomach area. The solar plexus, the navel center, the lower belly. And again, we have muscles. We have the physical body. We also have energy. We have the breath and the movement of the body with the breath. So focus the attention there for a moment, noticing how the breath moves the body and how when we breathe in, there's this natural lengthening and expansion of the muscles to allow the diaphragm to flatten, the air to come into the lungs. As we breathe out, the whole of our body settles back to the floor, the navel center, the lower belly. There's that natural release and relaxation that we have on the out-breath. Allow your breath to be continuous and smooth by relaxing the muscles of the stomach area. Keeping the mind awake and alert and focused. Focus on that feeling in your body as you breathe in. The Muscles lengthen as you breathe out. Everything settles. And if right now the thought stream is fairly active, you may need to bring your attention back more often than if you have a time when the thought stream is kind of calm and not so busy. So without any sense of judgment, and if the judgment's there, that's fine, but letting it go. Just notice what your experience is right now. My whole body is supported by the floor. I'm paying attention to the breath. I'm noticing that the breath is doing this or that. Often it's more relaxed, it's longer and slower as we do the practice of shavasana, as we relax. There might be thoughts and preferences that come in when we're noticing our experience. And we're letting go of that layer of thought. We're focusing really only on the sensations, on this paying attention to the experience as it arises right now in this moment. And then let go of the breath awareness. The breath will continue on its own. Bring your attention now into your legs, the thighs, the front of the legs, the hamstrings at the back of the thighs, the shins and the calves, your heels and your toes. Notice the tops of your feet, soles of your feet. Notice any energy that's present. Sometimes there's an overall feeling of energy in the legs. Sometimes they feel like they're fairly relaxed. Bring your attention back up into the stomach area. Notice how the breath is continued. Notice if there are any sensations, any energetic components of your experience right now. Solar plexus, the navel center, even the lower belly are often places where there's energy or sensations that are not directly linked to the physical. In addition to paying attention to the movement of the body with the breath, notice what's happening energetically in that space of the torso, between the diaphragm and the pelvic floor, between the stomach muscles and the spine at the back. Notice if this energy is okay, if it feels like there's an urge to get away from it, or if it feels like it's fine to pay attention to it for a moment. We can always do something to lessen the intensity of an experience. We could open our eyes, we could focus on the whole body from head to toes. We're never wanting to push into anything when we're doing this shavasana or any kind of observing. Noticing if that possibility is there to be kind and gentle with ourselves. And then extend your awareness out again to your whole body from head to toes. Notice your experience now. You can notice the physical body. The body might be more relaxed than it was at the start. Or maybe as you come back up to the forehead, you notice that there's some contraction that's come in there. If that's the case, allow it to soften with your attention. Check the back of the neck and the shoulders again. We all have habitual ways that we hold tension in the body. And if you can discover your favorite spot where your tension most likely shows up, then through the day you can bring your attention into there and relax and allow that to release. As that relaxes, then everything else will tend to relax as well. For some people it's the jaw, for others it's the stomach area. The forehead, the jaw, the back of the neck, and the stomach are common places where we hold. One of the advantages of practices like this is that we really get to know our bodies and our patterns of resistance or contraction. And what it feels like to release and relax. In a moment, we're going to come out of the shavasana practice. We can notice that the mind has gotten engaged with that. If we're deeply relaxed, or if we're maybe even sleeping, the mind might not be reacting to that so much. Just to notice that when we are preparing to make a transition, that the body energizes for that, the mind gets engaged. So to come out of the practice, roll over onto your left side with your knees bent and support your head with your arm. And then re-experience this moment through this perspective. Now the sensory perceptions are different. The feeling of pressure and connection with the environment is along the left side of your body. The back of the right rib cage is in the air now, so there's no sense perception there of the floor. Your knees are bent, eyes still closed, and notice what it feels like to breathe from this position. It's a bit different. Notice that coolness of the inhale as you breathe in. Focus particularly on the right nostril and on the whole right side of the body. That's the solar energy, the more active energy being prepared to engage in sitting up. And take your time as you're ready. Come up to sitting and try and maintain this awareness of your whole body. You can do this with the eyes closed. You can open your eyes. Be aware of your whole body from head to toes. Notice how everything shifts when you sit up. There's now a different image in your mind. There's a different set of sense perceptions of pressure on both sides of the body now on the seat, but no pressure on the back of the head. Notice how your experience is different. If you've drifted off to sleep, just let your mind wake up. Come into your sitting position, or if you're choosing to stay in the shavasana, that's fine too. And open your eyes, notice how that changes our experience. We now have color and light and shapes. And think back to when we started the practice. Notice the difference in your experience now. One of the reasons why it's good to take a little bit of time to come out of a shavasana practice is this assimilation time. Let yourself really enjoy and appreciate any relaxation that happened, any softening. If the breath is calmer and longer, the mind might be more focused or still. And that might not be your experience either. It might be something different. See if you can notice if that sense of stillness is still here, even while you're sitting up with the eyes open. And touch back into this throughout the day. The sense of being aware of the body, of the breath, of the mind, of the witnessing of that, the space in which all of this is arising.